Okay, so here goes another anonymous story time. Am I wrong for not letting my mom see any of her children at all? Well, I'm a 25-year-old man and I have 5 younger siblings. Mom had me on her 15th birthday and my dad stayed with her when she had me, and they were a happy family until I turned 15. Since my mom and I share the same birthday, we had a party together and my dad and I both wanted to surprise my mom with something special. We both decided to get her a locket with a family photo and that he would propose, and he did. They got married 6 months later, but the marriage didn't last long because my dad found out my mom had been cheating on him with some douchebag she worked with, and they got a divorce. They had shared custody until I was 16. A week after my birthday, I went to go stay with my dad for a week and I found him unalived. I ultimately blamed my mom for his death, but I never said that to her face, and my mom eventually married the man she cheated with and got pregnant again. That's when we found out that she would be having triplets, all boys. Her husband didn't want that many kids and tried to convince her to give up 2 for adoption and only keep 1, but I told her that I would help take care of all 3 as much as I could. I was 17 when my brothers were born and I spent all of my time outside of school with them. First few months, my mom would help out, but after a while, she was never home, and neither was her so-called husband. I had a lot of trouble taking care of 3 babies, so I called my 2 best friends over to help a lot, and they didn't mind, and they loved my brothers as much as I did. I had plans to go to college when I graduated, but I postponed school because my mom barely took care of my brothers while I was in high school, so I knew it would be even worse if I moved away for college. So when my brothers were 3, I signed them up for daycare, started school at a local community college, and I got a job to pay for daycare in school. I was in class. Okay, so here goes part 2 to the anonymous story time. Am I wrong for not letting my mom see any of her children at all? So I started community college. I would be in class from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. and I would work from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. then go pick my brothers up, take them home, and put them to bed. I rarely ever saw my mom, and when I did, she would come home and lock herself in her room, and she would be gone before I woke up in the mornings. I figured she was working a lot to pay the bills and spent the other time with her husband, but I found out that she was on drugs when she came home high as a kite and tried to take one of my brothers out of the house. Called the police and eventually had her put in rehab, but just after a month of being there, I got a call from them and they let me know that she was pregnant again. I really didn't know how to feel. She was let out a few months later and stayed clean until she gave birth to twin girls. She had complications with the birth and had to stay in the hospital, but my sisters were fine for the most part. But I cried for hours after my sister was born because I knew all the responsibility would fall onto me and I was only 20. Sisters were okay to come home before my mother was, and I called my girlfriend to come over and help. My girlfriend was one of my best friends who helped me with my brothers, so she understood why I was so emotional. When my mom came home, she apologized to me, but I just ignored her completely, and she tried helping with my sisters, but she was absolutely horrible at it, and just after 2 months, she was back on the streets doing drugs again. I was fed up with her behavior, so me and my girlfriend started renting our own small 3-bedroom house in the next city over, enrolled all of my siblings in another daycare, and found an even better job. We lived like that for 2 years. My sisters were in daycare, and my brothers were starting school soon. And then on their first day, my girlfriend and I took them to school, and while we were outside taking pictures, I noticed my mom walking up. I told my girlfriend to take the boys inside and went to confront my mom, and she started calling the boys. Okay, so here goes part 3 to the anonymous story time. Am I wrong for not letting my mom see any of her children at all? After I confronted my mom, she started calling the boys by names that weren't theirs and got upset when I stopped her. I asked her what she was doing here, and she told me that she was coming to take her kids back. And I told her if she went near any of my siblings that I would take her to court for legal custody. She argued with me for 10 minutes before the school security escorted both of us off the campus. Then later that day, while I was at work, the daycare called and said that there was a woman saying she was my sister's mom and that she had permission to pick them up. I told them she didn't have permission and to keep her there until I came, and when she saw it was me, she walked in and grabbed one of my sisters and tried to go out the back entrance, but someone stopped her and called the police. She screamed at me for 15 minutes about how I kidnapped her kids and how they should come with her and all that bullshit before the cops arrested her. I told them the short version of the story, and the cop advised me to get full custody over my siblings, and that's what I did. Honestly, the process was so long that my siblings were taken into state custody for a while, but eventually I was granted full custody. My siblings were so happy, and my mom tried to get visitation, but I got a protective order against my mom, so she can't see any of them at all. I know she's mad because she sends me voicemails and text messages about how I'm a horrible son and how I ruined her life, and I can't help but think that's true sometimes. Am I wrong for not letting her see any of my siblings at all?